Hi, everyone. My name is Shayna. I want to start off by saying that I had a lot of fun creating this portfolio and I'm excited to share it with you. So, let's get started. Okay, here we go. Okay, so start off by saying this is my professional profile. This is my pre-professional profile. It's just saying a little bit about me. This is my boyfriend Taylor and our dog Heidi. She's precious. She's so cute. Um, it's just pretty much saying stuff about me. I am 20 years old. I am a junior at UFIS. I just transferred from Arkansas Tech University in Russellville. And my major is elementary education. And then it was just saying that my mom and my grandma have both been early childhood teachers. And so growing up around them really inspired me to go into the education field as well. I plan to get my bachelor's degree in December of 2020. I'm a semester behind because I could not decide what I wanted to do when I first started college. But now that I've chosen this, I'm really happy to be doing this, and it's something that I really do love. And then it's just saying that I am a teacher at Kids Unlimited Learning Academy. And we specialize in children with developmental delays, and we work with children from 6 weeks old to 6 years old. So it's really the early childhood part of that. But when I first started my job in May, I was working in the infant classroom. But then whenever I started school and I was in classes all the time, I became a floater. And so now I'm usually just a floater in the preschool classrooms. And so I really do love my job, and I'm so ready to, I'm so glad that I have this job because I feel like it really prepares me for my future in my own classroom. So that's my professional profile. And this is my post professional profile. And this is pretty much just saying what my philosophy is and how I want to run my classroom and just my beliefs about teaching. And so, some things that I want to touch base on is just my main goal is to empower my learners and inflict curiosity within their growing brains. I want to teach them to learn and continue with that mindset for the rest of or I want to teach them to want to learn and continue with that mindset for the rest of their lives. And then I'm sure all of you have heard this saying multiple times, but without teaching, there like no other careers would exist, and that's the truth because every single thing that you do, you need some kind of education behind you. So that's just something that I always like to say and something that I like to keep reminding myself of. And I also said that I want my students to be excited to learn, and I want them to know that I really do care about them and their future. I want my students to be comfortable in our classroom and want to talk and learn and love their not only me but their other classmates as well. And yeah, let's see. I want to teach in multiple different ways to reach out to the different learners because for me, I'm a kinesthetic learner, but I know that not everybody is like that. So I want to be able to incorporate lessons that include visual learning, auditory learning, and stuff like that because I feel like it's important that I reach out to all of the different kind of learners out there and that I can make my lessons as as great as I can with the different kind of students that I have in my classroom. So I'm sure y'all have had time to read that if you wanted to. So I'm gonna jump right into the other stuff that I've done. Let's see. I'll I'll just go ahead and start with my lesson planning just because everything else kind of relates to that. So I decided to do my lesson plans on math, and I'm pretty sure all of mine are first through third grades. Pretty sure. But I got this first lesson plan, telling time. I got it from scholastic.com right here. And I liked this website, but I decided to look for a different one. Well, why isn't it load? There we go. I decided to look for a different one because the other one I'm about to show you of my other lesson plans, it had like the standards included with it. And so like this, I had to look up the standards and stuff. So I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I liked the other website that I used. So this is just what I did my first one with. It's for, I think it's for second grade. I don't know. We'll see whenever I look at my lesson plan. But this is just the objectives and then the materials that you need and all these, like the printable stuff, it's all down here. So like you can click on it and print it out. So that's pretty good. I like that about this website. And this is just like your setup, what you should do before the lesson. And then this is pretty much just all what I have in my lesson plan. So let's go to that. Well, and this is taking forever. And sorry if y'all can hear my dryer in the background. It's laundry day, so I apologize if that's very noisy back there. Oh my goodness, it's taking forever. I should have already had this pulled up, but it's okay. But anyways, I'll just wait for that to load. Oh, now that I click out it loads, whatever. So these other three are from education.com and then this one is from scholastic.com. But let's see if it loaded now. Okay, here we go. Finally. I don't really need to do this, but whatever. Okay, so okay, yeah, this is from grade levels 1 or first through third. I already said it's the subject area math. The central focus is telling time on an analog clock, but it also includes the digital clock as well. So for my pre-assessment, I actually got this from Number Sense with Miss Parks because we do this every single day and I love it. But this is before each lesson or before this lesson, I'll use dry erase boards to determine what the students know about telling time. So like I will use the smart board if I have one. Hopefully I will because I love the smart board. But I will use the smart board to pull up like a digital time, or actually I'll use that to pull up an analog clock with the time on there. And then on their marker boards, the students will write the digital times of what that analog clock is showing. And so then I'll have them hold it up for me to see what they have. And so then that way I can see if they have, if they're like misunderstanding that the minutes go, 5, 10 in increments of 5, or if they're like not understanding whenever it's the hour hand is past the 5, maybe they're doing it 6, but really it's not 6 yet. And so this is just, that will just really help me to see what they know. And so then this lesson includes these standards. I have the standard for first grade, and then the standard for second grade, and then the standard for third grade. And then this is just stating that the students in first grade should be able to tell and write time in hours and half hours using analog and digital clocks. The second grade students should be able to tell and write time from analog and digital clocks to the nearest 5 minutes using AM and PM. And then the third graders should be able to tell time using terms quarter and half as related to the hour, and then tell the time to the nearest minute. And then they should also be able to measure time intervals in minutes and solve word problems involving addition and subtraction of time intervals in minutes. So then this is the ISTE standards. The knowledge constructor aligns with the first and second grade standards, and then the computational thinker aligns with the third grade standard. And then the objectives. Students will learn how to read, write, and tell time on analog clocks. They will be able to identify time by the hour, half hour, and quarter hour, depending on which grade this is. They will also be able to make their own clocks, interpret, and demonstrate time. So to engage the learner, I feel like the dry erase boards will engage the students enough from the beginning, because children in general love to be writing on anything other than paper, and the dry erase boards are a great resource to use for that. I use it all the time at work with the preschool classrooms. They love the dry erase boards. And so, and not even for learning, just to draw on them and stuff. So I feel like that would help. And if not, then I can let them know that they'll get their own clock to play with. And so that usually will probably interest them, because all kids love to play with anything other than what they usually have. And so for my instructions, I'll just start by asking the students why time is important, and hopefully that will start a discussion about time. And then after introducing them to the lesson, I will begin, and I'll just begin by asking the students to name the daily school activities. And then as they do this, I'll write the correct time on the board in a digital format, and then ask some volunteers to write the word name for the digital times if they're in third grade. But if they're in like first and second grade, then I probably won't worry about that, just because that's not part of the standards for first and second grade. And I feel like that's a little bit more for more experienced children with time. And so then with the guided practice, after I hand out the individual clocks, we'll practice moving the hands of the clock to the time shown on the board. So if I say, okay, let's make the time for what time recess is, and then we'll like point to it, and let's say it's like 1:15, then we will all make the times for 1:15 or something like that. So then for independent practice, after we practice as a class for a little bit, then I will make 12 marks on the floor and to create a life-size clock. And then as I call out a time, I'll have two students demonstrate by standing one where the hour hand is and then one where the minute hand is. And then I will make sure that all students are given a chance to demonstrate the time. And if they aren't getting it by this time, then I'll probably incorporate a worksheet with this, just so that they can have a different times on the worksheet than the ones that are on the board that we've already done. So questionings I could ask, like what time is shown on the analog clock, and then how would school be different if we didn't know how to tell time, and then if you could change anything about time, what would it be? And these questions just help the students to think in a broader aspect and like apply the time to real world situations, and like help them realize why time is important. And so my plan B, if the students do not understand this concept, we'll probably create a song or something so we can all remember things about time. Like if they're all struggling with like which hand is which, then we could create a song together to for us to remember that. And then for the post-assessment, I'll send a homework sheet with the time shown in analog and digital formats. And so they'll complete this for homework and then bring it back for grade the next day. And then if they're, if they're not good grades, I'll just revisit the lesson in a different approach. And so I'll probably just create a whole new lesson plan for time if they're not understanding. This is just saying that I'll use the extended time, preferential seating, communication methods, peer tutors, and instructional assistants. I'll use extended time just in case students aren't catching on as fast. I will use preferential seating because I will be drawing a lot of things on the board, like the times at the beginning of the lesson. So if a student can't see as well as another student, then I will use the preferential seating so that they can sit at the front and be able to see better. And then communication methods, this requires a lot of student feedback for whenever I ask them what time is shown, and then whenever we do the clock on the floor and stuff. So I feel like those things are needed. And then if a certain student is not understanding the material and lessons taught, I will accommodate for them and work on one-on-one to ensure. And if they really aren't understanding, I will come at a different approach, like maybe look up different lesson plans for that one specific student if they're just really not getting it. And then for the students who do understand very quickly, then I will use the peer tutoring and have them explain to the other students who aren't catching on as fast. And then that way it'll give the students who are understanding, it'll give them a way to explain it in their own words. So the resources needed for this, it's just a principal poster with a clock on it, principal clock hands, and a bracket. And again, all of that is shown on this website right here. So pretty much all you have to do is see, I even attached them to this. You just have to print these out and then cut them out, and that's all you really need to do for this lesson. And then, of course, the dry erase boards and markers and the tape for the floor. And this is just saying something I might run into when I'm teaching this. So since the students had to put the clocks together themselves, this took away time from my lesson that I could have used to explain the matter into more depth, because that's what the lesson that I got from scholastic.com, it said to have from this one, it said to have the kids put together their own clocks. Let's see. And at first when I was doing this, I didn't think that would be a problem, but then thinking about it after doing the whole lesson, so you have students create their own clocks. After doing the lesson and thinking about it and reflecting on it, I really realized that would take away a lot of time, because if a student doesn't understand how to put it together, then I have to explain it. And so next time I'll probably just pre-make the clocks and then hand them out. And then that way we can jump right into the guided practice part. So that's it for my lesson number 1 on time. I feel like I'm taking forever. How much time have I done? I don't even know how many. Whatever, it's okay. So lesson number 2 is comparing numbers, and I got this from education.com. So here it is right here. So it's titled greater than, less than, and equal to on the website, but I just did comparing numbers because that's what it is. And so see, over here, it has the standards, and I really like that. And even if you click on them, it'll tell you what the standard says. But I went to the actual ADE website to make sure that it was, accurate. But it is, and it's the exact same thing that it says on there. And it tells you what materials you need, the preparation you need to do, and then even key terms. And so I just really, really liked this this website, and it even has technology integration in it. So, and it shows you how you can use technology within the lesson. And so, yeah, I really liked this website. So I did the rest of mine on this website. So let's go ahead and do comparing numbers. Oh, sorry, that was my dryer. Told y'all I was doing laundry. Okay. Maybe this one will load a little bit faster. Looks like it will. Maybe. Maybe I jinxed it. Oh, here we go. That was a lot faster. Okay, so this comparing, it's math, obviously. That's what all of my ones are, that's my subject area is math. So the grade level is first and second grade. The central focus comparing numbers. For the pre-assessment, we'll do a KWL chart. This is, which I know some people like say it differently. They say that it's like what you already know, what you wonder, and what you want to learn, or something like that. But I've always known it as what the child, like what you already know, like that's what's in the column, and then what they want to learn, or what they want to learn, which is the W, want to learn, and then what they ultimately learned at the end of the lesson. So that's just how I interpret it, which, I mean, I guess you could do it either way, but I just wanted to clarify that because it says it right here. But this is my standards. It just says that the first grade standard states that students should be able to compare two-digit numbers based on meanings of tens and ones. And then, whoops, oh well. And then it says that second grade should be able to compare to three-digit numbers. So obviously second graders are going to know three-digit numbers, and first graders are going to know two-digit numbers. So that's why it's like that. And this is my ISTE standards. And then we'll just jump to the objectives. Students will be able to compare two-digit numbers, which I guess I could have done two-digit or three-digit, but it's okay. Using the symbols for greater than, less than, or equal to. So for engaging the learner, I will just tell them that we're playing a game today, because that will ultimately spark their interest. If you say, oh, we're just going to play a game today, because that's what we are doing, that's part of the lesson. So I feel like that will get them interested. And so for instruction and plan supports, I'll tell them that they're going to be practicing comparing numbers. And then I'll ask for a student to define the word compare. And then I'll remind them that compare means to see if one number is the same as, smaller than, or bigger than another number. And then I'll write the terms greater than, less than, or equal to on the whiteboard and ask what these terms mean. And then I'll write after discussion and we come up with a definition, I'll write that on the board and then just remind them what it does mean. And then for what I do for the instruction, I'll display the symbols for greater than, less than, or equal to on the board using markers and an interactive whiteboard or projector. So if I can, or if I have to, I'll just do it on the whiteboard. But if not, I can do an interactive whiteboard or a projector. So just whichever would be easiest and whatever I have available in my classroom, which I stated. And then I'll ask students to see if they've ever seen any of these symbols. So then we will play the game later, less than or greater to, or less than or greater than 1 to 20 as a class. So this is just something that's on an interactive whiteboard. But if I don't have that, then we'll just skip that part. So then I'll just show some examples and then show that 55 is less than 66 or 77 is equal to 77. So this is just like getting them introduced to it and giving them examples. So then to move on to the guided practice, I'll show them the game number 1 worksheet, which is not that one, this one. This is the game number 1 worksheet. And so let me scroll back up. I'll model how to play the game So I'll just show them how they will be playing the game during independent practice. So it'll be me and one other student, and we'll randomly select 2 cards. And the goal of this game is try to get the larger number. So whenever you get your numbers, you'll write down which one is, like, they'll have to figure out which one is the greater number. And after they do that all on this worksheet, see, like, they'll put their numbers right here, and then they'll put their symbol right here, and the players right here, and then say who's the winner, like player number 1 or player number 2, or just their name or whatever. So that way they can play with a partner during independent practice right here. And but I'll just have to hand out index cards with the numbers on them and the worksheets. And then for the questionings, I can just ask what compare means, because we already discussed that, so we need to make sure that they know that. And then, like, if they can define each of the symbols, which they should be able to if they were playing the game and they were doing it, correctly, they should be able to get, know which symbol means what. And then why is it important to know how to compare numbers, and just see what they say for their answers to this. And if they're not understanding, then I'll just explain it in a different way. And then just remind them that what each symbol means. And then something that also helped me whenever I was in elementary school, I never was good at comparing numbers. And so my sister, one day, she was helping me with my homework, and she explained to me that one of them, like, each symbol is an alligator mouth, and it will always be pointing to eating the bigger number. And so that has always helped me. So if the student isn't understanding, then I can maybe explain it in that way and see if that helps them understand. And then the post assessment, we'll fill out. That spelled that wrong. I guess I was tired. Let me fix that real quick. Okay. Anyways, we're just going to pretend like that didn't happen. And filling out the learned section on the KWL chart, because that's what they ultimately learned at the end of the lesson, I hand out the worksheet attached below, and they'll take this home for homework and then bring it back and then show me. This will show me what they know. So I'll just, like, send this one home. And this also has a cute little alligator on it, so that's cute. But yeah, I'll just send this home with them, and then they'll bring it back the next day. And I got all of these worksheets from that website. So all of these were included in that website. So yeah. And then for students who are having difficulties, I'll put them together in a group, and we will all play the game together. I feel like this will help, because if they're struggling with the same things, then we can play the game together, and then I will be there to see why they're messing up, and maybe see if I could help have them understand better. And then for enrichment, for students who are ready to work with numbers above 100, I can give them, have them play the greater than, less than, or equal to game number 2, which is this one. So this is just for 3-digit numbers, which would be for second graders. But if this is like first grade, then I can give them that and see if they can know how to do that, and kind of challenge them a little bit. So this is right here. This is just the materials that I'll need, and that's the KWL chart, index cards, plastic bags. This is just plastic bags for the index cards, and then the worksheets, the whiteboard or projector. And yeah, that's it. And then this is just saying, let's see, let me find it. This is just saying, like, a problem that I might stumble upon while teaching this lesson. And I feel like anytime that students are working together as pairs, that sometimes they might argue about which answer is correct. So I just said that I helped them decide who was incorrect, and then why the other one was incorrect. And so that's just saying that a problem that I might stumble upon if I did teach this lesson. So that's it for, we'll say that since I spelled that word wrong, but that's it for my second lesson plan. And my third lesson plan is also from education.com, and it's over money. And this is second grade. And you can also download these lesson plans, which is really nice if you don't want to sit and type out all of this, but you can just download it and it's free. All you have to do is log into an account, but you don't have to like pay any money at all. It's all completely free. So yeah, again, I love this website. So this is just my lesson that I decided to do for money. Here we go. Okay, so as I said, this is second grade and the value of money. And for my pre-assessment, I'll use a worksheet such as the one attached below. Let's see, like this one. And then just see if they, which ones they got wrong and why. And that's what I'll use for my pre-assessment. So I'll probably do this like the day before and just be like, for maybe busy work or something, if I'm helping another student do something, and just be like, hey, you guys have this and, do this, but it won't be for a grade. It's just seeing what you know. So this is the standard for the second grade. It just states that they should be able to solve word problems involving dollar bills, quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies using the money symbol signs. And then the SG standard. And then the objectives is they will learn monetary values of coins and how these coins can be used to make $1. So to engage a learner, I'll just let them know that they'll be playing with money. All children love money, so I'm hoping that this will work. And plus, any manipulative that is used in the classroom is always fun. So I'm planning on using like fake money, not real money, because I don't want anybody to like swallow it or anything. Which these are second graders. They shouldn't be putting anything in their mouth, but you never know. So I'll start off by asking questions such as like, what is money? Why do we need to learn about money? How is it used in real life? Who uses money? And I'm pretty sure they're going to be like, my mommy uses money, but it's okay. As long as they know that money is important. So I'll introduce or review, depending on how much they know, how much about the penny, the nickel, the dime, and quarter. And then I'll go over the value of each type of coin. And then the guided practice, I'll just partner the students up and they'll have to come up with 5 different ways to use or to make $1 using coins. And then they'll have to write down the results on a piece of paper. And then the independent practice, I will walk around the classroom and let them experiment, and then just ask open-ended questions such as, how did you come up with that? If you start out with a quarter, what other coins could you use to make up that $1? And then some questioning could be, what is money? What do we use it for? What would happen if we didn't have money? And why is it important? And if they don't understand, I'll have them add the coins up to a smaller amount, such as starting with 10 cents. So, like 10 pennies or 2 nickels or 1 dime, and then move to 20 and then 50 and then 75 or something like that. And then ultimately get to $1. And then for the post-assessment, I will make note of how the students are answering the open-ended questions that I asked while I was walking around and they were doing their independent work. And And then as I get answers from these, I'll determine if I need any more, if I need to make any more adjustments or anything to the lesson, or if I need to revisit it in the future. And then I'll collect the group's papers and check it for correctness. So just whatever they put for, I'm going blank right now. For whatever they put for the values, making $1, they have to have 5 different ways, and I'll just check to see if they're right, and then if they're not right, why they aren't right. So for struggling students, I'll pair together with the peer mentors that like the students who are understanding. This student can explain in their own words. As you can tell, I really do like the idea of students explaining to other students, because sometimes teachers just aren't able, teachers know it so well, I feel like they aren't able to explain it in other ways besides what they've already explained it in. So I feel like partnering them up with a peer mentor that already knows this concept really well will help them a lot. And then the materials needed are just the coins and paper and pencils. So it doesn't have a lot of materials, but if you don't have any access to getting all these little, all the money, then it might be kind of difficult. But this reflection is just saying something that students struggle with a lot, and I know this from just being around kids, is they don't understand why the dime is worth more, because the nickel is bigger. And so it was just saying that I, took time to explain why that is, and that size doesn't matter. It's the value of it. So that was my 3rd lesson. And I'm just going to go ahead and really quickly just show you all this 4th lesson, because I feel like I'm taking forever. So this is just repeated addition and multiplication. So this is 3rd grade. And then over here is the standards, and this is just what I have for that. So that's where I got my 4th lesson. Okay, here we go. So as I said, it's 3rd grade, repeated addition and multiplication. So I'm sure you have all heard of the website called Kahoot, but I've used it in my classes before, and I like it a lot. And nobody knows if you get it wrong or if you get it right. So, but you just give them a code for the questions, and then I actually have an example I'll show y'all later, but they can access it with a computer, iPad or tablet, or their phone. But if they're in 3rd grade, they probably won't have a phone, hopefully. But usually, we're getting into the habit of where we keep a set of little Chromebooks or iPads in the class. So hopefully I have access to that, to where I could use Kahoot, because I really like it, and I can just use that as my pre-assessment little tool, because I think it's great. So this is just a standard saying that they should be able to interpret products of whole numbers as a total number of objects, 5 groups of 7 groups or objects each. So then objectives, they'll be able to use repeated addition as a strategy to multiply 2 single-digit factors. And to gain the students' interest, sounds like somebody's at my house, I'm sorry. I'll simply inform them that we will be working with M&Ms today. And since it's candy, I'm sure they'll be interested as soon as I say that. So to start off, I will start by drawing 2 circles on the board with 5 dots in each. And then just ask them what addition problem this is. And then I will view the term repeated addition and explain that each of these circles have 5 dots. So we're adding the same number twice. And then this is another way to do multiplication. And then I'll tell students that we're going to be practicing using repeated addition as a strategy to multiply. So after this, I'll draw 4 cookies with 3 chocolate chips in each. And then I'll explain we need to add the number 3, and I'll write 3 under each cookie, and then 4 times. And then I'll just rewrite it as a repeated addition expression, and then ask a volunteer to solve the problem. And then I'll write a multiplication equation. 4 times 3 equals 12. Say that 4 groups of 3 is 12. And then I'll draw another model and ask the students to talk with a partner to come up with the addition expression, such as the one that we just did, and then continue that. And then ultimately have the student write the expression as multiplication on the board. So for guided practice, we'll play on a roll multiplication game. This we'll just start off by rolling 2 dice, and then I will create a model using the numbers on the dice. So I'll lay out paper plates for the number of groups and place M&Ms on each plate. So if I rolled a 2 and a 6, I would lay out 2 plates and place 6 M&Ms on each plate. Then on a sheet of paper, I'll write a repeated addition equation and a multiplication equation to go with what the model that I just built with the paper plates and M&Ms. So then I'll just explain to them and write out the rules of the game on the board. So just one partner rolls a die to decide how many groups there will be. The other partner rolls to decide how many will be in each group, which the groups is the paper plates, and then the other one is M&Ms. And then they will build a model together and then write the problems down on a piece of paper. And then independently, I'll hand out the repeated addition worksheet, which is, not that, this one. And I'll hand that out for the independent practice. And then I'll circulate around the room and then just offer support as needed. So if the kid is having problems with it, then I'll go over it, and then we'll review the worksheet as a class. Or we might do like peer grading or something like that, just whichever I find easier. Then I'll ask questions like, what is repeated addition, to spark their memory, and then how is it tied to multiplication and why is it important? So if this lesson does not work, I'll provide pre-drawn models and ask students to write a repeated addition problem to go with the model. And then, so like on a piece of paper, give a model instead of having them create it, and then just see if they can do it that way, because it might be confusing them that they're having to create their own models. And then for post-assessment, I'll use an exit slip, such as the one attached, which is this one. So and if you don't know, an exit slip is just something that you use like if you're moving into a different lesson, or at the end of the day, you can just have them complete this before they go home. And so that will show me who understands the content. And then for students who are having trouble, like I said before, I'll provide pre-drawn models and then ask them to do that. So I'll just use the same thing for the individual students who are having trouble, and then if the whole class is having trouble. And then if the students are getting it pretty fast, then during the dice game, I will have 2 students roll dice to determine how many M&Ms to place inside each group. This will increase the size of factors up to 12. So that will have them multiply bigger numbers rather than like 3 times 4. It'll have them multiply like 12 times 12 or something like that. So that will help them stay, stay enriched. So the resources, M&Ms, obviously, and then for the pre-assessment, the computer or tablet, and then the worksheet, like the one I have attached, and then the exit slip, like the one I have attached, and then a piece of paper, dice, and paper plates. And then, oops, I forgot to delete that. I'm just all messed up today, I guess. And then this is just saying what would happen if they weren't like something that I might run into. I had some trouble with the students wanting to eat the M&Ms before the lesson was over, because obviously if you use candy during a lesson, you should have them eat at least a little bit, because that's kind of like teasing them if you don't. Like, they're like, seriously, I did all this work and you're not even gonna let me eat the M&Ms. So obviously I'm gonna let them eat the M&Ms, but I feel like some students won't understand that you have to wait until the lesson is over because we need the M&Ms. So if that does happen, I might change it to dry macaroni because nobody wants to eat that. So yeah, that's my that's how I plan to solve that problem. So that's my lesson plans. And then I'm going to go to assessments, since I already kind of touched base on that a little bit. So it's just saying I chose to do different things for each lesson. 2 of my pre-assessments were in-class based and the other 2 were technology based. For lesson 3, I decided to use an online quiz. So here's just an example of a quiz that I would use for money. So just how much is a quarter worth, and then you could do this, and then, just whatever, click whatever, and then that way I can see, and then go back, and that way I can see what the, oh man, am I gonna have to go all the way back? Here we go. That way I can just see what each student knows. I'm pretty sure on my actual lesson plan I didn't have the quiz, but that's just another thing that I could do for that lesson. And then for repeated addition, like I said before, I use the Kahoot. So this is just something that that you can click on to play, which I'd have to see. This is just like some of the questions that I have, like 5 + 5 + 5 = 2. And then I'm pretty sure that the answers were like 3 × 5, which is the correct answer, then like 5 × 3, which is not, because even though it gives the same answer, this is 3 groups of 5. So, and that's something that they would need to know. That's something that I will teach during my lesson, that which numbers, like we have 3 groups of 5, and then, but it's different than 5 groups of 3 whenever you're drawing it as a model, which we will be doing in that lesson. So that's why I kind of did that. For my formative assessment, there are multiple different ways, things you can do for formative assessments, but I like this Think, Pair, Share. I actually hadn't heard of this until I got into college, but my very first semester, one of my classes, we did this. Is a biology class, and I thought it was really interesting and a cool thing to incorporate. And so this is just saying that I'll ask the students a question about the lesson, and then they'll think about it and write it on their paper, and then they'll pair up with a partner and like discuss what they put for their answer about what they thought about, and then I'll have them share this with the class. And so this is just a link to explain the process in further detail, and like gives a video and stuff. So I just thought I'd incorporate that if I didn't explain it correctly on here. And then this is, I didn't even hear this. I actually looked this up, but it's called 3, 2, 1 countdown. And it's a lesson or an activity that you can use at the end of the day. And so you just give all the students a note card, and then they'll write 3 separate statements, 3 things they didn't know before the lesson, 2 things that surprised them about the topic, and 1 thing they want to do. They want to start doing with it what they learned. So, but you can change what they write. You don't have to do these things. You can change the things that you want to know about what they've learned during the lesson. Also, classroom polls. I felt like this was pretty good, because it'll give really quick feedback. And so I know it's just like 1 question, but if it's a simple question that they should know after learning the lesson, then I feel like if they don't know it, then changes need to be made. So I created this poll just as an example. I'm pretty sure it's just like multiplication question. Oh, no, it's comparing. So, I mean, obviously, after doing the comparing lesson, they should know that 44 is greater than 23. So that is true. But, you know, if they don't know, then we need to touch base on that again. So some other formative assessments that you can include in your classroom that I plan on including in my classroom is analyzing student work. So that's like walking around during the lesson, asking questions, or just, oh wait, all right. Okay, never mind. So this is just walking around asking questions. This is looking at the students' work, like homework that they turned in, seeing if like if they got the questions right or wrong, and then quizzes and tests and stuff like that, and then exit slips, which I used in one of my lessons, and then bell work. I plan to incorporate this in my classroom, so you can just do a couple questions from the lesson the day before and see if they remembered, and then grade that or not grade it and just see how they did. And then the questioning, just asking those questions while walking around the room and then doing their work. So then the summative assessments, this is used at, I'll use this at the end of each unit. So I'll do unit test to see if they're learning and remembering the material, because if they're not remembering, then there's no point in, they're not learning because they need to remember it. So then the state assessments. So I'm pretty sure they're given to third grade students and up. So if you're in third grade or up, then they'll have state assessments to determine if they're doing good in their classes and if they're actually understanding the material. And then projects. So projects at the end of the semester or year are a great way to evaluate students' understanding. So after assessments, we have the assistive technology. So this is speech to text software. I know everybody else did this too, but I did the Dragon Dictation. It's developed by Nuance, I don't know how to say that, Communications. And then I'll just click on it and show y'all. These are all links right here, just taking you to them. I mean, they're pretty expensive, but with everything that it says on here, it would be a great investment if that's something that you need in a classroom or at home. And then this is the Watson by IBM, and then Evernote. And Evernote is pretty cool because it's a note-taking skill. So if you're in class or something, you can just use this and it will record everything that the teacher is saying, and then it'll turn it into notes. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then this is the text-to-speech software. These are all very similar, but this is just Natural Readers. It says it's the most powerful. So, and this has different ones. You can do online downloadable software, or it's commercial, like you can create narration for YouTube videos. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then just ReadSpeaker and text-to-speech reader, which is what TTS means. And then the assistive technology resources for teachers. I loved this website, guys. It was awesome. So it's a website for educators that allows you to search by subject area, grade level, and IDEA disability. So let me just show y'all. I'm pretty sure this is something, yeah, this is for math. So what I did before is I just did the keyword search, and I did the content area in math, and then early elementary, and then I did developmental delay. And so this is just some things that you can click on, like this one, the bright switch. It says this is for students who have visual impairments. The flashing blinker helps visually impaired individuals locate the switch. And then the yellow texture lens lights brightly while music plays and the switch vibrates. And I just thought it was really cool because you can narrow it down to all of these, and then you can also choose between products and research. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool website to include. So, and then I like this website too, because as I said before, I do work at a place that is working with developmentally delayed children. So all of these I really was interested in. So let's see, this says it allows you to choose a subject area in which a student is struggling. And then let me just show y'all. It's pretty cool too. So this is just giving you some things to consider right here. I'm pretty sure this is for reading. Should have done it for math, but I didn't think that. So this is just like pretty much giving you some helpful advice and like what to use for that certain student. And then this is called understood.org, and then it's shows multiple different tools, and then explains how a SHUL would help, and then it provides a list on where to access the assistive technology. So I thought that was really neat that it gave you all the tools. See, like right here, it just gives you all the tools that you can use, and then see, it even has text-to-speech, and then some platforms for assistive technology and like where to access it and stuff. So I thought that was pretty neat. And then to move on to classroom management, I think that's it after that. So this is classroom rules that I really like. I just included this because this is pretty much what my classroom rules would be. Do your best, be ready to learn, eyes forward and listen, raise your hand, be respectful, say please and thank you, share and take turns, keep hands to yourself, follow directions, try new things, believe in yourself, work hard and have fun. I feel like the bottom one, work hard and have fun, I feel like that's the most important one, because I feel like a lot of children believe that if you work hard, you can't have fun, but that's not true. I love to learn, and I want to teach my students to want to learn and to love it. And so I feel like if we have fun, that's something that they'll love to do. And so this is my procedures. And so this is like a little quote that I liked. It says, student achievement at the end of the year is directly related to the degree to which a teacher establishes good control of the classroom procedures in the very first week of the school year. And I believe that is very true, because that's when they're going to learn all of the procedures, and you need to make sure that you're going over them well enough to where they know it. And then if they're not doing the procedures correctly, then you might need to go back and revisit that. So this is just saying that I believe that and this is just saying like how important classroom rules are and like how I feel about them. And this is just saying how important procedures are and how I feel about them. And then here are my classroom procedures that I plan to have. I'm actually going to have a lot more than this, but I didn't want y'all to be like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. But especially working with like kindergarten and first grade, I feel like they need a lot of classroom procedures, because if they didn't go to preschool or anything, they're not going to know like things that they can and can't do. So this is just a few of the ones that I want to touch on. So entering the classrooms, they'll walk into the room quietly, put their backpack in their assigned cubby, and then sit at their tables and wait for further instruction, because I plan on having tables in my classroom with like 4 to a table. Beginning the day, the helpers will update update the date and the lunch choices. Students will let me know how they're getting home. Homework will be turned in to the homework tray, and students will begin working on bell work. Like I said before, I plan to have bell work in my class, and so that's where that comes from. Attendance and lunch. I can't even talk. Attendance and lunch. students will say here when name is called on for attendance, and I will take that. I won't leave that to anybody else. When table is called on, they will get up and move their name to lunch choice. So I know some schools have 2 lunch choices, and then lunch from home. But if our school doesn't have that, then I'll just do lunch at school or lunch from home. It just depends on where I do start my teaching career. So, and then going to the restroom, we will go to the restroom before lunch and after recess. I feel like students should go to the bathroom before they get to school. So obviously I'm going to let them if they need to ask. So if they do need to go, they can just ask me to receive a restroom pass. But ultimately, I want to allot time for that. So, but it just depends on our schedule also. So this isn't, exactly, it depends on what our schedule is, but that's just, an example. So leaving the room and walking in the hallway, when told, the assigned line leader will go to the door, and this will change. The assigned line leader and line ender will change every week, and I'll explain that with my down here with my daily task or class jobs or whatever. So I'll dismiss the rows or tables or groups, which I already said I wanted to have tables, but if I just get tired of that, then I might change it to rows or, whatever. But their materials have to be organized for me to call on them to go line up. So when they're all lined up, the line ender will go to the end of the line. We'll use hips and lips when walking in the hallway. So that's like, one hand on the, here, I'll just show y'all because I feel like I didn't explain. Well, actually, I don't want to stop that. So never mind. I won't show y'all because I don't know if I can get it back. But just hips and lips. So one hand on the hip, one hand on the lip in the shushing fashion. Sure, y'all have heard of it before, but if not, I just thought I'd explain it. Book drop. So students will go to the library every Friday, unless my school requires them go on a different day. I don't know, but this is just something that I thought would work pretty good. In order to exchange a book for a new one, they must score a 75% or higher on their AR reading test. And then they'll go to the library 2 at a time and will not be gone longer than 5 minutes. And it just says violation of this rule will result in loss of independent library time, but I'll touch more on that in my consequences. Use a pencil sharpener. Pencils are to be sharpened at the end of every day. This will be a part of daily chores. Students need to have at least one extra pencil in their desk or pencil bag. If their pencil breaks, they can use an extra pencil, which they should have because, like I said, they should have at least one extra pencil, but it's okay. But if that one breaks or something, they can just borrow one from a friend because the pencil sharpener is not to be used during the lesson. Because I remember when I was in school, I would hate when I could not hear the teacher talking because someone was sharpening their pencil. So that will not happen in my class. So it'll just happen at the end of the day. Peer grading, students will use a pen to grade. If they're unsure about an answer, they'll just circle the question number for the teacher to look at. There's no sense in them raising their hands. What about this? What about this? So they'll just have to circle it. But there will be absolutely no discussion about the paper the student graded unless it is with me. I do not want anybody to be saying, oh my gosh, Susie got such a bad grade on this paper. Now, if I hear that, then they will have to move their clip on their behavior chart, which I will talk more about in a second with my consequences. But yeah, they will move their clip on the behavior chart because that is not okay to me. Absences, classwork from the day before will be in the absent folder. It is the student's responsibility to go to the folder and get the work they've missed. They will have 1 week, which I know some people are like, oh my gosh, that's a long time. But, depending on how long they're gone, they'll have 1 week to turn it in. And then they'll be but they will not work on it during class. It'll be after assignments have been completed and at home if needed. It will not be during the lessons or before their other assignments are done, finished. So preparedness, students are expected to be prepared for each day with appropriate materials and a good attitude. I feel like it's okay to not be happy all the time, but I feel like positivity and negativity wear off on other students. So if a student comes in with a negative attitude, then that will wear off on me and the other students. So I feel like at the beginning of the day, I want to teach my students to, leave everything at home if they're, in trouble at home or parents are fighting or something. I just want them to leave that at home and come into the classroom and start a new day with a good attitude. And so that's just something that I feel like will help all of us in the end. And then extra materials are available and given to the student at the teacher's discretion. So obviously, if a student is known to break or misuse the materials, I will not be giving them extra materials. They need to get some from home. So voice levels, students will refer to a voice level chart on the whiteboard to know what voice level to use during each activity. Assignments. If students do not finish their assignments in class, they will take it home for homework and bring it back the next day. Names must be on the student's paper when turned in, and assignments will go in the turn it in tray. Transitioning, desk area must be cleared of any materials / clutter. Chairs must be pushed in. Class jobs. Students will be assigned class jobs at the beginning of the year. Students will have a different job every week. Jobs consist of the following: sharpening pencils, cleaning the board, cleanup crew, errand runner, calendar assistant, door holder, line leader, line ender, lunch helper, etc. I'll have to have one for each student, so there'll be more than that. And then ending the day, tables will be called on for students to pack up. After packing up, the students will line up. Students will go to designated area for walkers, bus riders, or car riders. So that's the end of my procedures. Oh, whoops. My bad. Sorry, guys. Okay, now consequences. This is the behavior chart I was talking about, and this is just saying like why consequences are important, and then just saying that I've attached this. So this is where everybody will start at the end of the day. And so like if they do something nice for one of their peers, or they just give a good compliment or something, they'll move up, and then they'll keep moving up until they get right here. And if they get to superstar, then they'll get some kind of prize or something. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but anyways, so then mainly focusing on down here, if they do something that they know that breaks the rules, or that they know they shouldn't be doing, they will move their clip down, and that will be a reminder. So that will be pretty much just like a warning. And then, which all of these will go home to mom. So mom will always know how they did that day. But if I happen, if they happen to keep breaking the rules or just do something that's not acceptable in any form or fashion, that's when I will contact mom or dad during the school day. So that's just a behavior chart. And then this is my consequences. Oh my gosh, I really feel like I've been doing this forever. I'm so sorry this is so long. Goodness. Oh my gosh, hold up. How do I see how long this is? Can I see how long this is? Well, let me hurry up and finish. I hope it's not so long. Oh my gosh. these are, I know this is over an hour. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna, I don't know. Outside of the classroom, this is just my problems, and then what will happen. And then if they break this rule, then what will happen with this? And oh my gosh, this is so long. I'm sorry. This is just all the problems and what will happen. A lot of them include moving their clip, because I know that students don't like to do that. So that's just that. Oh gosh. And then this is technology tools in the classroom, smart board. I mentioned that in my lesson already. Projector. I feel like having a projector in the classroom will be beneficial to not only me, but the students as well. And then iPads or laptops, and I already touched base on a lot of these. So I'm going to go ahead and call this good because, oh my gosh, wait. Here we go. Okay, stop. Okay, here we go. Sorry that this is so long. I have no idea how to see how long it is. I know it's over an hour, I think. And I'm sorry. I talk a lot and I can't help it. So I'm sorry, everybody who's watching this. But I hope y'all enjoyed my portfolio, and I'm sorry again. I know I've said that a million times, but I didn't intend for it to be this long. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoy, and I'll see y'all later.